Hello, 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 everyone. This second time only, our second ever reinvention show. I'm so excited that you're joining me live. And those of you who are watching in replay, welcome as well. The Reinvention Show is our new effort to create a space where all of us, people with years of business, organizational, or consulting experience, can think together. How can we turn the uncertainty and disruption that all of us are facing lately into an opportunity? That's it. The whole show is all about turning uncertainty and disruption into opportunity and finding ways for us to uplevel our tools, our skills, our approaches, and of course, change our mindset when it comes to constant change, disruption, uncertainty, and volatility. Let me know in the comments where you're joining me from. I am, as always, in the United States. My name is Nadia Zhiksimbayeva. I'm the founder of Reinvention Academy and a best-selling author. My latest book is all about thriving in chaos, and I'm so honored that for this show, I'm bringing in a CEO who knows all about thriving in chaos. Every time, every week, it's different. Sometimes the show is about me answering your questions, so you can always add your questions to the comments below. Sometimes the show is about bringing some amazing practitioners, CEOs, business owners, managers, consultants, and sometimes we also will bring scientists, authors, people who may not do practice but have amazing theoretical contribution. So if you have an idea of who you want to see in this show, if you have a guest suggestion, also put it in the show. And in the meantime, we have Germany in the house. Welcome. We have Croatia in the house, one of my all-time students from my years as a Coca-Cola chaired professor in executive MBA at Vertical. Wonderful to see you. India is in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kazakhstan is in the house. And Christina, of course, the amazing leader at a beautiful multinational Visa that we love so much, originally from Moldova, now in my home country. And super happy to see here Maya Beatty here in the US. Wonderful. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Where are you joining us from? What questions you want us to cover in the upcoming reinvention shows? And of course, which guests you would like me to bring in. And here today with me is a CEO perspective. I absolutely love my fellow CEOs, myself as a former executive, but also as an owner of my own business. I love talking to other leaders how they are surviving and thriving in uncertainty and disruption. So it's always an honor for me to bring a person who is in the trenches, who is daily working as a leader, as a executive in charge. Yeah, the person who is in charge. And with me today is Olga Peresild. Beautiful, absolutely lovely. Welcome, 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 Olga. We are honored to have you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. I'm really excited to see you and to speak for you.
Mhm.
And thank you for having me in this show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Olga is joining us from Estonia, where she serves as a CEO of a marketing, communication, and media agency that, of course, is going through massive disruption right now. And this is a perfect time to speak about how you're making through these years of disruption and uncertainty, how you're managing disruption personally as a leader, but also for your company and what advice you give to others. So we're honored to have you. And I know you have a story to tell about how we've met because, of course, you are a graduate of Reinvention Academy, you are a certified reinvention practitioner, and you have a story to tell how we've met. So let us know.
Yes, I have a story how we met, and I think this is very important because this is a part of reinvention process for me. Yes, because around a year ago, I felt that myself totally exhausted. I think that a lot of leaders had the same feeling. Yes, and I remember very well that I've noticed an announcement about Reinvention Academy, and I have a lot of questions. Should I participate or not? Should I spend my time or not? I wrote to Nadia, and it was a great surprise for me. What one Sunday morning, I have a letter from Nadia, and it was done in video format, yes. And even more, Nadia was commenting my question like she is like a human. Yes, packing her training bag at the moment. Yes, I think you were going to yoga training or something like that. And it was so refreshing, so amazing, so authentic for me. That moment I thought, I want to see the business like that. I don't want to see goals. I don't want to think about very expensive restaurants. I want to see people. I want to see who they are and what they stand for. And this the first contact with Nadia was a fantastic push for me to understand that I really need some reinvention, some refreshments and change, and I have to deal with it now, not a year later. Yeah.
I
So
love
this story is very great.
I love that. Of course, I don't remember every detail of how
I
I,
remember.
and it's just so beautiful because I think we often think about reinvention as something massive.
Yeah.
You know, Elon Musk with the Tesla and then now going to space, that reinvention. I invite everyone to start thinking about first and foremost everyday reinvention, the way we show up, the way we respond to an email. In my case, I do use video responses quite often. If I think I can be better recording a video for you, I will send you an email with a video. It costs nothing. With this technology right now, something like Loom is a free software. You don't need even to pay, you just need to care. That's it.
Mhm.
You just need to
Mhm.
care enough to ask yourself, where can I add a small reinvention today if I'm not yet ready for something massive, whether it's in my company, with my product, with my team, or as a person? What can I
Mhm.
add that could be a small, low hanging fruit? And I know for you in your industry, you are going through a massive transformation. You are
Yes.
shaken up, there's a lot of disruption. How are you managing the last couple of years, both personally as a leader of your company and also
Mhm.
what your company has done to
Mhm.
invent, to adapt, to
Mhm.
flourish?
Yeah. When I start to reinvent my company, I really believed that it is all about the company. But very quickly, I realized that I cannot change anything if I will not change myself. Yes. And the very first rule I have forgotten about is about breathing. Any living organism have to breathe in and breathe out. And I have some difficulties with breathing out, yes. And it is important because breathing out, it is all about taking a pause before you do a next step. And if you do a next step and have a lot of past experiences, you will not enjoy new experiences, never. And that was one of the very important takeaways if we are talking about my personal reinvention. Also, I think that I really liked one sentence a friend of mine shared with me, and it sounds like perfection is the enemy of progress. When you yeah, I think that it is also quite familiar situation for many of us that when you are a leader and you manage your team, you try to manage them by the example. It probably comes from a cultural background or from educational background that when you are placed to be a leader, you want to be perfect at everything. Yes, and when you are perfect, you are losing a lot of opportunities. In my case, for example, it was like a thousand of good ideas: what to create, what to launch, what to change. But all these ideas, not all, by today it is not anymore all, but a part of these ideas are still somewhere on the shelf. At the same time, I see that my competitors are launching a lot of great stuff, without any doubt that it will be good, yes, in the future. And also I think that if we are talking about my personal reinvention, I think that what I have learned, that I should develop a skill to keep an ear to the ground, when you are in the same industry for such a long period, there is a threat to start to underestimate the skill of trend watching. And this was also my huge mistake. I thought that any kind of industry reviews or overviews is too boring for me, is too predictable for me. I will not learn anything new, and this is dangerous, especially in this era of disruptions. Yes,
Absolutely. Let me double click on two things you said. One,
yeah,
I love, love, love that you spoke about the breathing in and breathing out. That
yeah.
it's not just constantly expanding, which is very tempting for people who like disruption, who like new things, who like growth. This idea that we breathe in, and we go bigger and
Mhm.
bigger, but there is no moment for breathing out. There is no downtime. There is no, I often ask CEOs, when was the last time you said, okay, our goals for this year is actually to produce less than our last year, so we breathe out? It just
Mhm.
doesn't happen. We assume to always go higher and bigger and
Yeah.
better and so on. How do you allow yourself to breathe out now? And how you also allow your team to breathe out? Maybe you have an example, maybe there's a case, a story, or something that demonstrates how you breathing out now.
Yeah, if we talk about me, it's all about self control. Very, very tough self control. If we are talking about team, I think that it is also about self control. But change is starting from the leader. Yes, if I'm able to breathe out, it means that people around me also have a skill to breathe out.
Does it mean more vacations? Does it mean, I don't know, if before you were emailing people in the middle of the night, now you don't? What does it pragmatically looks like breathing out?
It means more here in myself. Yes, here in myself. If I really feel that I have a lot to do, I always ask myself a question: do I have enough energy to share? If I do not, I have to rest. I have to have this pause. And I also like the idea. I heard this idea from you to have no days or something like that.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
day of no.
Yeah,
My
they don't know.
like
Yeah, yeah.
nowadays.
I'm not so far yet. I'm not successful yet with this, with the practicing of such days. But at least I'm thinking about it. Sometimes you have to start to think about it.
Absolutely. So regular practices,
Yeah.
that is the way. And we have some reactions coming in also on perfection as the enemy of the progress, how much this resonates for many of us, because today, speed beats perfection 90 plus percent of the time.
Mhm.
Speed, you might have imperfect product, but it's first on the market. It will beat perfection, even if the next product is better in terms
Mhm.
of features, in terms of design, whatever. It will still beat imperfect product. It will not compete with imperfect product that was first on the market. So we're having some reactions to that as well. So the first thing I wanted to double click on was this idea of breathing out. But I also want to come back to um, really how you practically managing your team. Is there something that you reinvented in practice in the last year and a half, that you can say, this is how we've done these things before and this is how we do them now, and it makes this kind of difference?
Yes, and I think that the main change, the main practice is all about the strategy. Yes,
Mhm.
before we usually we had the goals and the strategy for the more longer period. At the moment, I would say that we have milestones
Mhm.
sometimes, and milestones for the shorter periods. Yes, sometimes I even do not have milestones. I have some kind of hypothesis. Yes,
Wow.
and I test them, look at the reaction from the market.
Mhm.
If I get the desirable result, it means for me that I have to continue with this
Mhm.
product or some change, for example. If the direction is not so desirable, not so as I expected, it means that I have to forget about it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I will not have enough space in my brain to generate new ideas. And of course, what is also very important practice for me is to talk with the people even more than I did it before,
Mhm.
from the team. Mm, and to talk not about technical stuff,
Mhm.
but try to understand how difficult for them to live in changes and in the disruptions, and try to explain to them how they can help themselves.
Mhm. Mhm. So really investing the time in
Yeah.
creating the reinvention mindset and the reinvention culture, which is less of a technical skill. We often think about this as a soft skill, but it's the hardest one to produce. It's easier to learn mathematics than it is to learn how to manage uncertainty and how to manage yourself and uncertainty, your own fear, your own biology. So love that. So few
Yeah.
things you mentioned. Number one, strategy becomes much more emergent, is less of we have a long fixed plan with fixed hard goals, and more we're thinking about short sprints, we're thinking about flexible milestones, and we think not as decisions but just hypothesis. We're
Mhm.
testing out, we're experiments, we're not deciding, we're putting together experiments. And of course, you as a graduate of Reinvention Academy, as a certified reinvention practitioner, already have at your disposal this stellar strategy canvas. This is specifically designed as a
Mhm.
tool, as a canvas to allow for that kind of emergent strategy. For all of you who are not familiar with stellar canvas, after the show we will make sure to add a link that you can download. Very simple one pager with explanation of how you can use this, whether it's in your personal reinvention, your team reinvention product, or the whole company. And another thing you mentioned is that it's so important to over talk. It's almost like more and more and more being close ear to the ground, not only to the external trends.
Mhm.
Very often we ignore, as you mentioned, it's so easy to ignore external trends, but also the ear to the ground when it comes to your own team, listening both ways more often. How does your team react to change? Are they changing when it comes to change?
I would say that the speed of change is a little bit slow than I expected, but it
Among
is,
team, within the team.
yeah, yeah, within the team.
Mhm.
And it's okay, because I think this is the difference between the expectations of leaders and
Mhm.
the reality.
Mhm.
And I would say I'm very thankful to my team, because they are extremely patient to any kind of my ideas and any kind of my, I don't know, speeches or conversations with them. Yes, we are trying to create a new reality, and we are doing this step by step, and it is completely allowed to them to tell me in some circumstances, or in some situations, hold on your horses, we need baby steps, otherwise we just blow out.
I love that. I love that. So again, when we start having the ear to the ground, both when we come to look at the external world, trends, reports, data that suggests that the disruption is coming. We had plenty of reports about upcoming epidemics and health pandemics. Non-stop reports. 2019 September, October was the last World Economic Forum report where big infectious disease was listed obviously as a risk that is very highly to materialize, and we are all surprised by that. Same with other reports: technological disruption, economic disruption, legal and regulatory disruption, your country changing the laws, your government changing the laws, new competitors, new customer expectations. Most of these trends are now available. You can notice them if you make an effort to have an ear to the ground. Same with the team, as you mentioned, how important it is to listen to the team, to be able to hear them when they say stop. Give us some time. Give us some time. Now we come to the crucial question when it comes to reinvention. Whose job is it? Whose job it is to reinvent, and what's the role of the CEO when it comes to reinvention?
That's a very perfect question, and I think that you know my answer. This is um, this is the job of anyone who is responsible for this business. This is the job of CEO. This is the job of owners in certain way, and it should be personally me. I believe that each organization should have a position of reinvention officer because. um Example from my personal life, I started the process of reinvention of my company completely alone, and it was very difficult because you don't know are you moving in the right direction or not. By theory everything is okay, but life is completely different.
Mhm.
And Starting from May, we created the position of chief of innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally enjoy the months we spent with this person. It was amazing time during 3 months because it gives such a lot of courage to the CEO to go with any kind of ideas to owners, to the team, to the clients. It is very important to have this position.
I love that. And by the way, I love when companies make the title that works for you.
Mhm.
It's really important that we don't get stuck with one word. Is it Chief Reinvention Officer? Is it Chief Innovation Officer? Chief Transformation Officer? Chief Growth Officer? It really doesn't matter. You need to choose the title that fits the culture and the industry where it's helpful and not distracting or creating a war or confusion. And we have a suggestion from Rick. He says that we need a chief ear to the ground officer, which is a big role of the reinvention person, the whoever is in charge in your company. In building this forward is definitely necessary. Why? Because as you know yourself, that's true for me too. You cannot run existing business while
Mhm.
building a new version of it simultaneously. It's like you have a plugged in working vacuum cleaner and you need to turn it into a plugged in working TV set without unplugging it because the business keeps going, the money have to be produced, the jobs are still there, you need to pay the salaries and taxes and everything else. So it's not like you can unplug and build a new TV set, it's still plugged in.
Mhm.
Because it's so complex, it's unfair and unrealistic to expect that you as a CEO can
Mhm.
be the only person. And I so applaud you on making that difficult decision and saying, this is it. We need a person. We need a dedicated resource. We need a
Absolutely.
dedicated budget and we need dedicated time. What was the reaction in the company to that decision?
Sometimes it seems to me that team does not understand
Mhm.
why we need this position, but they are excited. And this is a huge step forward, yes, because at the moment for me, really, I'm care about the emotion within the company and around the brand. Yes, I believe that if we will grow the emotion around the brand and it will be extremely positive, it will help us to grow as a business. Yes, and this position helps us to be more positive even.
I love that. Gives you a sense of, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We can and we will. And just like we figured out any other role, there used to be a time where there was no job of chief marketing officer, chief financial officer didn't exist as a job. Many roles that grew through the last 100 years at one point were new roles. And I'm so happy to see more and more companies.
I would
Yes.
say think about body.
Hmm.
We have like a head,
Uh-huh.
and a head it is about CEO. Yes.
Mhm.
Usually CEO knows about what was in past and where we should go, and
Mhm.
we have a team it is our body. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we also need a neck, and the chief of reinvention is the neck.
I love that metaphor. I love that metaphor. Is turning and being more selective with focus.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
another thing that is happening today because of uncertainty, because of volatility, because we are living in a time where nobody knows the answer. And if there's anyone in your world who says, I know exactly what will happen in 2022, here is the trend, here's the report, run. If you hear that, run.
Mm-hmm.
No self-respecting expert professional knows the answer right now, and that's all right. It's not our job to know the answer. It's our job to know how to figure out the answer. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's happening now also, is this ability to focus, this ability to be super clear that out of hundreds of signals, we are choosing this signal to pay attention to, whether it's a disruption from the customer, from the competitor, from the regulator, that we are very clear that of all the noise, we're choosing to treat this signal as something of our priority. And that's why I'm so excited that next week we are starting another Easy Reinvention Lab. It's always free, it's a 5-day event. And during the Easy Reinvention Lab this time, starting Monday, we are choosing the topic of consistency and focus, because without consistent, deliberate, and focused effort to reinvent, it's very easy to be pulled in every direction. Which brings me also to the question of your industry. How are your fellow CEOs thinking about reinvention and what's going on in the world in general? What are they paying attention to, and what you have as an advice to fellow CEOs? What should they be paying attention to right now?
And you mean in general,
In
or
general,
about
you meet
in
another
general?
CEO, you meet another CEO, what's on top of their mind? Is there some
Yeah,
first
yeah, I know that. Yeah,
instinct?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the answer. Yeah, I would pay the attention to the marketing, and not because I am a representative of marketing communication agency. Being in the industry, I have challenging myself a lot. What is the value of marketing, and for whom we are doing this? And during this period, during the COVID period, I rediscovered the idea of marketing for myself totally. And I really believe that when world is changing, we have plenty of empty space, like in terms that any kind of old structures, patterns, logics, they don't work anymore, and this space is empty. And you, if you really want to reshape something, if you really want to rebuild something, you have to fill this empty space with a new meanings, and marketing is the right tool to find these new meanings and to communicate these new meanings.
Oh, I love that. I just want to repeat it for everyone. In the moment of disruption, what Olga is saying, I love that. In the moment of disruption, there's a lot of openings. There's empty spaces, there are opportunities, there are gaps, because the world is falling apart. And when something is falling apart, there's a mess, but there's always an opening. And a chance for you right now, whether you are in the industry of marketing or any other,
Any whatever, yeah, yeah.
use this time to fill this empty space with new meaning. I love that. That is a
I
beautiful, beautiful advice.
I even believe that if you're brave enough and if you find the right way how to fill this empty space, people around you doesn't matter. Your team, your clients, they're very thankful because you help them to rephrase the world and to find themselves also in this new world.
I love that. Love that. We're coming to a close. There are a lot of great reactions. Arina says, I can confirm. Olga really loves collaboration with Chief Innovation Officer. Love that. And Stanislav says that neck is a great, great metaphor, great analogy for the idea of what is the role of Chief Reinvention Officer in relationship to the CEO. Absolutely love that. And of course, there is beautiful reactions to the empty spaces, feeling the empty spaces and also filling them, making completing, making sure that there's no holes anymore. Love that. So, Olga, last question. If everyone who is watching our reinvention show is leaving with one idea, one insight, one takeaway, what is that takeaway? What do you want to leave our audience with today?
Be honest. Be honest with yourself and try to balance between your wishes and between the reality. This is very important.
Love that. Balancing between your wishes and the objective reality in a very honest way. Love that. I'm honored you could join us. We could have talked for another hour. Every time the reinvention show finishes, I feel like we just started. What are you talking about? We just started. So, of course, we invite everyone to connect with Olga on social media and wherever else you want to find. This is a beautiful, beautiful community of reinvention practitioners all over the world who are really pushing things forward and finding a way to turn uncertainty and disruption into opportunity. So I deeply thank you for taking the time, joining us all the way from Estonia and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you so, so, so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Absolutely. And here you have it, guys. Our second reinvention show is in the books. I loved, love, love having Olga here. And please give us in the comments your reaction to some of her insights. I know so many of you are reacting on what you just heard. How do you balance wishes with reality? How do you find the new way forward with the ear in the ground? So there's a lot of beautiful reactions. I love it, guys. What we will do, we will make sure that after the show completes, we will share with you some additional resources. So, of course, we invite you to download the free 85-page preview of the latest book on how to thrive in chaos, where you will find the stellar canvas we mentioned. Olga uses it in her business. I use it in my business. It's a very simple tool to add agility, to add flexibility and short sprints to your strategy. And of course, I really invite you to join our last Easy Reinvention Lab of 2021. It's free, it's live, it's only an hour a day. You can bring your team. But what happens in those 5 days? We meet every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 days at 12 noon US Eastern. You can watch a replay. But what happens? At the end of the lab, people leave with whatever they wanted to reinvent. Some are reinventing their teams, the way their team is organized. Some are reinventing their relationship with their clients. Some are reinventing their product. Some are reinventing their Saturdays, how they spend their Saturdays. Doesn't matter what you choose to reinvent. You will leave the lab with a much greater sense of possibility, much greater hope for this uncertain and volatile times, and very pragmatic results. So we will make sure to share the link to the lab. Those of you who are already registered for the lab, you can just drop the link in the comments right now. Love you all. See you next week, every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. On the clock, the Reinvention Show will be here for you. Thank you all for joining me today and have an amazing rest of the week.